IELTS Essays. My name is Yuri, and I'm an IELTS tutor. You can visit my website, ieltsexpert.ru, and a contact group, IELTS for You. So, first of all, I'd like to tell you a few words about the writing section of the IELTS exam. So, in the writing section, there are normally two tasks. If it's academic IELTS, then the first task is a report where you have to write a minimum of 150 words. Task 2 is an essay, and that's what we're going to talk about today. You have to write at least 250 words, and the total length of the writing test is 60 minutes. So, as for the time management, it is recommended to spend about 15 to 20 minutes on writing task 1 and 40 to 45 minutes on writing task 2. As for the assessment, writing part 2 is 2/3 of your final score. So when you take the test, it is recommended to start with it, to start with the essay, because if you don't have enough time at the exam to finish the essay, it is more serious than if you don't have time to finish part 1, because as I've said, it's 2/3 of the final point. If you have any questions during my presentation, feel free to write your questions in the chat, and I will give commentaries and answer. All right, so basically there are three main types of IELTS writing, of IELTS essays. So that's argument essay, proposal essay, and discussion essay. Let's have a look at all these types in a bit more detail. So in an argument essay, you're given an issue or a problem and two solutions or two opinions about this problem. As a rule, you have to decide which solution or which opinion is better. So how do you identify this type of essay? In the task, you're asked to choose one of the solutions or to discuss advantages and disadvantages of some kind of a phenomenon. And here is an example. Here's an example of an IELTS task. So that's an argument essay. Here's an example. It is sometimes argued that too many students go to university, while others claim that a university education should be a universal right. Discuss both sides of the argument and give your own opinion. So you discuss discuss these both sides of the argument and give your opinion. The next type is a proposal essay. A topic of social importance. As a rule, you're asked whether you agree or disagree, or to what extent do you agree or disagree with this. So how do you identify this type of essay? It's easy. In the task, you're asked to discuss the particular position or the particular opinion. So here's an example. Currently, there is a trend towards the use of alternative forms of medicine. However, at best these methods are ineffective, and at worst they may be dangerous. To what extent do you agree or disagree? All right, let's move on to the next type. So the third type is a discussion essay. You're given a social problem and you're asked to discuss it. As a rule, quite often, quite frequently, you also have to think of one or several possible solutions of this problem. So the way to identify this type of essay is that you'll be given two questions on the topic at hand. Here's an example. Airplanes pollute the environment. What do you think are the causes of this, and what solutions can you suggest? All right, so these are the three types of essays, and we're going to talk about the evaluation criteria of an IELTS essay. So here is a link to band descriptors. It's more detailed than what I'm going to tell. If you're interested, you can have a look at that. There are basically three types of criteria of evaluating the IELTS essay. They are task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. Okay, so let's have a look at each of them, and let's imagine that you're targeting at band 8. For example, you need 8 in IELTS writing. So what do you need to do to get 8, band 8? So for task achievement, a candidate to get 8, to score 8, he sufficiently addresses all parts of the task. So it means that he should answer all parts of the question, and sufficiently. Presents a well-developed response to the question with relevant, extended, and supported ideas. We're going to discuss how to answer the question, how to extend your ideas, and how to support your ideas when we discuss how to write body paragraphs, main body paragraphs. Coherence and cohesion. So the candidate sequences information and ideas logically. So if you want band 8, you need to write a logical essay. Manages all aspects of cohesion well. So it should also have, the parts of your essay should also be cohesive. So it means that these should be connected with each other. Uses paragraphing sufficiently and appropriately. So, and one paragraph, one main idea that is developed. Lexical resource. So, uses a wide range of vocabulary fluently and flexibly to convey precise meanings. You're writing on a specific topic and you can demonstrate the ability to express yourselves using different synonyms. So, if you're writing about doctors and medicine, you shouldn't write doctors, doctors, doctors all the time. You can also say, well, at least doctors and nurses, medical professionals, medical practitioners, well, medical experts, medical specialists, at least like this. Right, skillfully uses uncommon lexical items, but there may be occasional inaccuracies in word choice and collocation. So you shouldn't only use common words, but also some really specific words. For example, you can say security cameras have become quite mundane in shops and trading centers. So this word mundane is not very common. It means you can find this word means that you can find it in various places. Hello, Sophia, and welcome. We're talking about evaluation criteria for IELTS essays. So then a candidate to score 8.8, he produces rare errors in spelling and or word formation. All right, and the fourth group of criteria, that's grammatical range and accuracy. You have to use a wide range of structures. It means you should use different tenses, not just present simple and past simple, but well, it could be, for instance, present perfect continuous, or conditional sentences, or inversion. Not only does it blah, 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 but it also, and so on. The majority of sentences are error-free, so it should be accurate, it should be correct. And a candidate who scores 8, who gets band 8, makes only very occasional errors or inappropriacies. Right. So, once again, here's a checklist of what you can do or what you should do to score 8 or possibly even a bit higher. If you remember, the first group of criteria, that's task achievement. So you should answer specifically the task in the question in the task. So you should answer all the parts. You shouldn't deviate from the topic in any way. You should state your position clearly. So it should be clear which position you adhere to. So what's your opinion, and so on. All right. Your essay should be cohesive and coherent. It means that you should use a clear structure of your essay that is suitable to the task. For example, you shouldn't put too many ideas into one paragraph, or you shouldn't select text into numerous small paragraphs with some specific ideas. Right, so main body paragraphs, they should develop the ideas that were mentioned in the introduction. So your essay should be connected in this way. All right. So you should also structure your paragraphs correctly. To get high score in a lexical resource, you need to use various vocabulary, various pieces of vocabulary from advanced level, and use different grammar constructions, right? So you should use a variety of structures, a variety of different words throughout the essay. So because if you use just simple expressions, simple constructions, simple words, it means that you will score 5 or 6 at best if it's correct. Well, more or less correct. Right. So, by the way, using a variety of grammar constructions is more important than accuracy of using these constructions. So, of course, ideally, you should use a variety of constructions and use them correctly. But for instance, to score band 6 or 5.5 maybe, if you use various constructions, it's more important than using all of them correctly. Right. Then, to improve your score in coherence and cohesion in this part of evaluation criteria, you need to use special connectors to move from one idea or from one part of your essay to another. These can be words like firstly, secondly, on the one hand, on the other hand, in conclusion, nevertheless, however, and things like that. Okay, sometimes you can also use pronouns instead of such connecting phrases. So in the essay we're going to discuss this problem, and so this will be connected to the previous sentence using a demonstrative pronoun, for instance. Okay, so while I'm talking, if you happen to have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat. I will respond. Okay, so how do we actually write an IELTS essay? So in this webinar is just introductory, so I'm going to give you basic ideas on how to write the introduction, how to write the main body paragraphs, and how to write the conclusion. And hopefully later we'll have another webinar where we will choose one topic, brainstorm the ideas for this topic, and we'll write an essay together. So how do you write an introduction? The purpose of a good introduction is to, to give a basic idea of the main topics, the main ideas that are going to be touched upon in your essay. So just by reading your essay, it should be clear for the examiner what topic you're writing about and what are the main ideas that you're going to develop throughout the essay. Right. So in the introduction, as a rule, there are three parts. That's the hook, the bridge, and thesis statement. There are lots of books on IELTS and on IELTS writing in particular, so sometimes hook can be called background statement, sometimes it's called scope sentence. It's the same. Bridge can also be called detailed background statement or narrowed down sentence. So hook, what is it? This is the very first sentence of an IELTS essay of the introduction, and it is used to provide a powerful opening theme trace to get the evaluator's attention and provide information about what the theme of the essay is. I will give you an example in a second. So bridge is like it's a connection between the hook and the thesis statement. So it's used to connect information that links the hook to the thesis statement. And thesis statement itself is a sentence, sometimes two sentences, that tell the reader what your opinion is and how it will be developed in the essay. All right. So if we're talking about hook, there are two ways actually how you can write the first sentence. Well, first, it can be a general statement on the topic. It should be a general sentence that most readers would agree with. Or you can mention some general fact or general tendency or some statistics, but not, you shouldn't give concrete figures here, just an idea or information of general idea or general information which most readers would agree with. And you shouldn't express your opinion in the very first sentence. Right. Here's an example of a task. So medical profession. Oh, it should be medical professionals. There's a misprint. Sorry. Medical professionals such as doctors and nurses from poorer countries often migrate to richer countries to work. What problems arise from this situation? What measures can be taken to deal with it? Here is an example. And before actually writing that, well, you know, a lot of doctors migrate to richer countries, you should state something general. Right, and the example of this hook is this. Economic migration is not uncommon among medical professionals. This is, well, this is a sentence that most people would agree with. All right, moving on to the next one. The next is the bridge, and again, there are two basic ways how you can connect the first sentence and the thesis statement. You can use a question that takes you to the thesis statement, that leads you up to the thesis statement. Or you can actually paraphrase the question from the task. So once again, here's the task. Medical professionals such as doctors and nurses from poorer countries often migrate to richer countries to work. So here is the hook. Economic migration is not uncommon among medical professionals. And here's the bridge. It paraphrases the task. Doctors and nurses often leave their home countries in order to find more lucrative jobs abroad. So lucrative means well paid, just in case you don't know. It's an example of not so common vocabulary that is not so common. All right, this is the bridge, and then the last part of the sentence is the thesis statement. Thesis statement is actually the key element of the introduction, which forms the structure of your essay. And by reading this thesis statement, the examiner knows what he or she can expect. You could sometimes, if you're asked for your opinion, you can also express your opinions here, and not in the first sentence of the essay. So in the thesis statement, you should have a clear answer to the question. It should be short and clear and precise. So here's the hook. Economic migration is not uncommon among medical professionals. Here is the bridge. Doctors and nurses often leave their home countries in order to find more lucrative jobs abroad. And here's the thesis statement. So various problems arise from such migration patterns. This essay will discuss what those problems are, as well as measures that can be taken to ensure the home country is not left without medical professionals. Okay, so that is the introduction. If there are any questions about how to write an introduction, please feel free to ask me in the chat. We'll deal a little bit with how to write main body paragraphs. So when you write the main body paragraph, the main task of these body paragraphs is to discuss the topic or the question of the task, or to give arguments that your thesis statement is true. It shouldn't be something tricky. You should express your ideas clearly, simply, and you should develop the ideas that were mentioned in the introduction. So this should be the same idea, the same ideas. So each main body paragraphs should reach a specific goal within an essay. Right. And here is an example of a body paragraph or supporting body paragraph, as it's called. So it supports the ideas mentioned in the introduction. And well, basically there are three main elements. It's the topic sentence, then it's description or explanation, an example, and if you wish, you can also use a mini conclusion, a close, a summary, a wrap-up sentence. It is not necessary, but for example, if you don't have enough words, if you haven't written too many words and you need 250, you can write just one more sentence. Okay, so a topic sentence is used to provide a clear opening phrase which explains what the paragraph is about. So this is an example of another essay. This essay is about advantages and disadvantages of using security cameras and other types of such technology. There are the advantages and disadvantages. So the advantages are that it helps prevent some crimes, and the disadvantages is that it deprives people of their privacy. And this is the first body paragraph that touches upon advantages of using security camera. So here is the topic sentence. It's just the introduction of the advantages. The crucial beneficial factor of using innovative technologies such as closed-circuit television is that it can help prevent, investigate, and punish deviant behaviors in sensitive locations with high crime rate. Then, if you remember task achievement, the criteria, you have to expand and develop your ideas. So the next sentence actually expands and develops the idea. It's called description or explanation. And you use it to describe and explain the topic and provide more detailed information. So this is the main reason why surveillance systems have become quite mundane in shopping malls, trading centers, and retail outlets. Then, to develop the idea further, the best way, and the most common way, is to give an example. And here it is. For instance, if security officers detect anything suspicious, they can take effective measures immediately. Okay. And the last one is a summary, a mini conclusion, a wrap-up sentence, or a close. This is a sentence that closes and summarizes what you have just said. You don't have to use it. It's optional. So if you feel comfortable paraphrasing, because you have to repeat basically the same idea as in the first sentence of this paragraph, and sometimes the same idea as in the introduction, in your thesis statement in the introduction. If you have enough synonyms, then it's great. If you don't, then you don't have to write the sentence. So to sum up, using such devices is essential for ensuring public safety, since they are a significant deterrent to would-be law offenders. All right. So an empty slide. Yes, so we actually, so the topic sentence is the first sentence of the paragraph. It is an introduction to this paragraph and tells you what the topic is. So it's very similar to the hook in the introduction. Right. The way to do this is to write a topic sentence, and it's sometimes just a broad general statement with which, again, most readers would agree. And you don't forget about parentheses, so like an introductory word, like to begin with. Then it's your paraphrased position and an argument. Okay. Then description is the second sentence of the main body paragraph. It is used to describe or to explain the topic in the paragraph, and you just give a bit more information and you give a few more details. That's how it works. And then comes the example. So it introduces specific information that proves what you have written. It's very important to examples when you write essays, and they should have direct relation to what you are writing. They should be directly related. Yes, and they should be a proof of the ideas that you're developing. There can be two types of examples. It can be personal example. So this can be an event or a story that is related to your arguments. Or it can be a general example, some fact that everybody knows. By the way, it doesn't have to be true. It just has to be logical. Some IELTS tutors say that you can have there are two types of examples. One of them are situational examples, like you can mention Steve Jobs, for example, or Toyota, just because this is it's suitable for the topic, or some examples that that you think of logically. All right, and the fourth sentence of the supporting body paragraph. This is a mini conclusion. It is used for generalization, paraphrasing of what was mentioned above. It's an optional element. You don't, as I've said, you don't have to use it. If you do write it, then try to avoid repeating the same words, the same keywords that you used before. So you should find some synonyms. So you can just write it by paraphrasing the topic sentence. And don't forget to include words like thus or in conclusion, to sum up, and so on. So once again, the main body paragraph, that's a topic sentence, description or explanation, example, close summary, mini conclusion. So that's what the main body paragraph looks like. And the last point, how do you write a conclusion? How do you write a conclusion? So in the conclusion, you integrate or unite the ideas that you touched upon in the main part of your essay. And you should summarize, you should sum up what was mentioned before. You don't have to write much. 2 or 3 sentences are normally enough. So the structure of an essay, it consists of 3 main parts. It's paraphrasing the thesis statement, then a summary of all the main parts of your essay, and some final ideas and final commentaries. It's not necessary. You don't have to give any new information in the conclusion. Just paraphrase and sum up what you said before. All right. And the last aspect I would like to mention today is the time management. There are 4 steps of analyzing an IELTS essay. Of writing an IELTS essay. First, you analyze the question and you brainstorm the ideas. Then you make a plan. Then you actually write your essay, and then you proofread and edit your essay. So when you analyze the task and brainstorm the ideas, you read the question carefully. Sometimes you need to read it 2 or 3 times and understand what exactly you have to do. So what type of essay is that? What is the actual topic of the essay? Then you should think of ideas for body paragraphs. Think of words and phrases. And sometimes several, not sometimes, but you should normally you should think of several ways of expressing keywords. Ideally, you should do this within 2 or 3 minutes. Then you make a plan, and you should think about what you know about the topic for the introduction. Then think of some ideas that express the main thoughts of each body paragraph or topic sentences, and think of examples that will justify your position. Right. So at this point, you don't need to think of conclusion because the ideas will basically be the same. You just need to be able to paraphrase them. And when you actually write the essay, uh, you write it according to this plan, and it should be co cohesive, coherent, uh, both within the paragraphs and between the paragraphs. So stick to the plan. Don't forget to do this. You should, when you practice, you should try to do this within 23, 25 minutes. You should actually write the whole essay, and then you will have 5 or 10 minutes to write it. So when you to check it, sorry, to check it and proofread it. When you check the grammar and spelling, and also the cohesion and coherence, then correct anything you need, and usually 5 minutes is enough for this. Hello, Elena. Welcome. We're talking about time management at IELTS essays. So an IELTS essay is well, it's recommended to start with it and to write the essay first, because as I've said in the beginning of our webinar, an IELTS essay is 2/3 of the final point, of the final mark. So you should start with it. It's more important. Right. So if you have any questions about IELTS writing, writing IELTS essays, please ask them in the chat. If you don't, let's choose a topic for our next webinar, and we'll write an essay together using the principles that we discussed today. So it can be an advantages and disadvantages essay. So here's an example. What are the advantages and disadvantages of leaving your home country to work or to study abroad? Or it can be a problems and solutions essay. Very few people nowadays want to become teachers. What are the reasons for this and how can this problem be solved? Then it can be an opinion essay. Prison is the best cure or correction for criminals. Discuss. One more problems and solutions topic. The number of people who are at risk of serious problems due to being overweight is increasing. What is the reason for the growth in overweight people in society? How can this problem be solved? Then an argument essay. Increasing travels between countries enable people to learn different cultures or to increase tension between people from different countries. Which opinion do you support and why? Give reasons and examples to validate your position. Or it could be a double question. The international news is a source of knowledge about the world. How far can journalists be trusted? What are the qualities of a good journalist? So let's choose a topic. You can write a number from 1 to 6 in the chat that you find most interesting. And depending on the majority of votes, we'll develop this topic. Okay, so Sophia likes topic number 1. Okay, advantages and disadvantages of leaving your home country to work or study abroad. So that will be the topic of our next webinar.